Well, hello, hello, hello. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I am back. I am back. I'm back. I'm talking about outgrown the box again today. We've been talking about that all week long. And I tell you, it is something to, when you start talking about you outgrown the box, warning. I want to let you know that there's going to be some opposition, that some people, some places, some things that are going to say, oh no, you can't come out of that box. You got to stay in that box. And so you want to come out, you want to do it, but I'm going to tell you, you got to stand your ground, and you're going to have to, fight against the things that want you to stay in that box. You got family members that, and friends, that might not see you the way you see yourself. You have family members, you have friends, you have, people that are close to you that don't see the vision, don't see the possibilities. They don't see the unseen, like you see it. They just see you one way. But it's time that you come out of that box, whether they see it or not. It's something that you have to see for yourself. Everybody's not going to be with you on it. Everybody's not going to be a hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Go, go, go. They're going to be like, what? So you're going to have to stand your ground when you are, coming out of the box, when you are making a stance, when you are believing God for what he has placed in your spirit. You're going to have to stand on it. No matter what, you're going to have to stand on what you believe. You're going to have to stand on what you see in your spirit. And see, we're talking about coming out of the box, but we're talking about coming out of the box, but we're talking about coming out of the box in a good way, doing good and love and compassion and caring for people. We can come out of the box with a whole lot of other things, but I'm talking about coming out of the box with some love and compassion and your gifts and talents and your purpose. Coming out of the box and working purpose. Coming out of the box and being all God has called you to be. When you were young and you felt like God was calling you to be that doctor, come on out of the box and the knowledge that you need about becoming that doctor. But you're more than a doctor to you. There's so much more if you're already a doctor. There's so much more in your spirit. There's so much more to your life. There's so much more that God has gifted and talented you with. It's just so much more than meets the eye. But you feel it in your spirit, and that's where it counts the most. When you feel it in here, when you feel it in your heart, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's one thing to have it in your head, but it's another thing to have it in your heart. So come on out and be all that you can be, and just, love on God. And let God love on you, because we need love. We need love. We need the love of God like never before. It's just so much going on in the world. And we need somebody that's going to make a difference, that's going to love and care and have compassion and concern for people, for souls, for people, no matter what color you are. God made us all. He made us all, and he loves us all. There's no respecter person. God loves us all. Whether you black, whether you white, whether you Asian, whether you Hispanic, whether you Chinese, Japanese, whether you Philippine, You know, whether you from Jamaica, whether you from oh gosh, England, London, Paris, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, you know, God loves us all. And we have outgrown the box of staying complacent and staying in a place where God can't use us. It's time to come out of that box of complacency. It's time to come out of that box of normalcy. It's time to come out of that box of mundane and mediocre. It's time to come out of that box of not saying anything, not doing anything, not reaching your goal, not working to your potential. There's so much more in you. And like I said, when you're trying to make an impact and you're trying to come out with your voice, there's going to be opposition. There's going to be something that says, you better stay in there. You better not come out. You better not speak your voice. You better not open your mouth. You better not empower. You better not inspire. You better not motivate. Even if it's in your head, you might have that still small voice that say, ain't nobody listening. Ain't nobody gonna want to hear my voice. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody want to, pay attention to you. But that's when you have to come out of the box and do what God has inspired and motivated you to do. Sometimes I don't feel like that this is reaching anyone. But if it reached one, if I reached one that day, if I allow God to use me with my voice and my gifts and my talents and my passions and my desires and my inspiration and my motivation and my love and care and compassion for people and concern, if I reach one person, I'm pleased. I might not reach the masses. I might not reach the millions. But if I reach one, if I touch one, if I allow God to use me to touch one person to love themselves and to love others and to have that same care and compassion and concern for others, for their neighbor. Their neighbor represents the person next door. Their neighbor represents the co-worker. The neighbor represents that person standing in the line at the grocery store. The neighbor represents somebody on the city bus riding, sitting beside you. That neighbor represents somebody walking or jogging in the park. That neighbor represents someone you don't even know. Someone you was in the elevator with. That neighbor represents that person that you smiled at walking down the hallway. That neighbor represents that. And so that neighbor represents that. And so your neighbor represents that. So if your neighbor represents that, then you know you gotta work your potential. You gotta do what God has called you to do. If your neighbor represents that. Your neighbor represents loving them when you don't love yourself. You love yourself though. And so you got to come out of that box of complacency. Come out of that box of normalcy. Come out of that box of mundane and mediocre. Come out of that box and be all God has called you to be. Because you've grown. You have grown. You outgrown the box because it's simply too small. All right, I'm Renee Hewitt Hall, and I just stopped by today just to encourage you to come out of the box. It's time to come out. You've grown out of the box. The box is too small. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.